Right, Sunday the 11th of Feb. Feels like snow is in the air, but we've avoided it so far. And I'm going to be looking at this monstrosity. Let me give it a whirl. Providing I do not break the table. So be very gentle. That might give you a better look at some of the potential. I'm going to lift the camera angle up slightly so you can get a better view. There we go, that's better, isn't it? I'll zoom in a second. So this, I picked up in, I think it was April last year, Facebook Marketplace. A lady put up a post saying she had this dug out of her garden. She was having her garden redone and it was free if anybody wanted it. So I had a look at the map and she was literally 5-minute drive away. And that's not an exaggeration. Four roads and a roundabout down. So I turned up and it was on its side. It was in the middle of a very hot spell actually. And she told me it'd been out of the garden for a week and a half, 2 weeks. It was, I mean, it wasn't bare root, it was muddy, massive muddy roots. And I somehow picked it up, sort of just bear hugging it, and took it to put in the back of my car. And as I carried it to the car, with my chest sort of deep into the bush, what I saw was that it was infested with spiders, including some reasonable size, sort of 2 inches, 2.5 inches in diameter. One was that big, the others were much smaller. I'm not the biggest fan of spiders, but when you've got a lady in her 60s going, "Do you need a hand?" I didn't accept the help, and I just held my breath and threw it in. Got it home, soon realised I had nothing big enough to put this in, and I had nowhere near enough soil to fill something up when I purchased it. So this was sat on the side of the garage on the front in a washing up bowl with some water in for about a week and a half. Again, the temperature was ever increasing, and then I found this in the garage. I found this, so it sat in this for a further half a week in just water while I waited for the soil to be delivered. I did put a post up on Facebook at the time, and everybody told me just to bin it. It wouldn't survive. Taking plants out of the ground is a very delicate process, and every single step of that process had not been followed. It was definitely going to die. So I wasn't too hopeful, but the soil came. This is in about 20 litres of Bonsai pre-mixed soil, the number 2 from Kaizen. And then it's been sat in the garden, and it's not just survived, it's thrived. So we're just about to enter into spring, and if I bring the camera a little bit closer, you can see it's ready to spring into life. You know, I should also say, while I'm beginning this video. This shrub in this box with 20 litres of soil. Oh, before I go on to that, I was also told a clear plastic container is an absolute no. So, you know, everything according to the textbooks was done incorrectly. But it has survived, and as you can see in there, there's, well, I'm going to see today what's in there. Potentially, we could have something. If I'm honest, there's probably too much going on for me to really feel too confident. But yeah, just as I was saying, just to finish up what I was saying, this weighs a ton, and this was at the top of the garden. And what's happened, the plastic has deteriorated. So the lip that, you know, you carry this by, that's all broken away. So it's a heavy little boy, very awkward little boy. But we're going to see if there's any potential there. Now, my chain of thought is this. I think it's a hebe. When I've used the plant identification app, it's not been that helpful. But from what I've seen online, it looks like a hebe of some nature. There's too many varieties. But I'm gonna, in the spirit of Tony's bonsai, God rest his soul, I'm going to do a hard chop. And my chain of thought is this. If I zoom you in here, it does look like it will back bud. So I'm going to chop it all away and then see if there's anything worth having. So I'm just going to grab some tools and I will restart the video. Right then, party time. Tools for the job. Some normal branch cutters. If anyone is ever questioning, do not try and cut 5mm wire with your branch cutters. Slightly warped, which is frustrating. Some Wilkinson sword secateurs. They should do the job. I can't see anything that they won't cut through. Maybe down there at the base. And then if I need it, trusty little saw. Excuse me. It would be nice to have some sort of electric saw right now, but I do not. So let's begin. And all I'm going to do is, even now I can feel myself becoming a little bit paralysed. I'm just going to get, he says, stuck in. I don't know if it shows very well on the base of the video. There's a massive root here, and it comes out the side and up. It goes through the middle and up to the I'd call the other side the front, given that's where the foliage is. Then it spreads all the way back. So at the moment, it's very difficult to say with any certainty where the future front of the tree will be. Because I don't know if I'll be able to catch it on the camera. Let me see if that shows. faintly. Most of the tree almost runs in that direction, and even this was all growing towards the sunlight, so it's adopted a sort of a natural windswept look just by, I assume it was grown against a fence. So maybe I can use that to my advantage, and actually that might be what I look at first of all. And I'm going to get rid of these smaller pieces of growth that we're not going to be using. Try and get some sunlight into what we're looking at. Oh my gosh, it is a mess. It is a mess. What is that? Is that old? Oh, there's some old rotting roots in there. Get rid of them. Okay, I'm going to stop the video and get stuck in, and then I'll come back shortly. Okay, I've took off so far, probably about a quarter of the tree. It doesn't look much different actually. See, I'm getting some space in there. I'm beginning to think that somewhere in there is possibly the front. And in fact, I think I can see, having took a step back, what I'm going to do. But I'll be honest, at this moment in time, it's still very, very open to debate. I like this branch in particular. There's so much in here. I haven't actually looked at it from this side. I shall continue. Right, let's have a look at the roots. We've got the big lump there, but then they come out to the side and stretch around. The roots, they're not even roots, they're branches. So, I'm still as yet no clear on where I'm going with this. We're getting somewhere. Where that somewhere is, I'm not quite sure. But that gives you a pretty decent look at what we've got going on. I do not like this at all. That might go completely, I think. In fact, it will. I'll cut that right back. That's just unsightly. So I've just been thinning them out. I think these might be dead. Yeah, they are. Are they all dead? Maybe, maybe not. If they are, I think they might be, then that's going back to there. So just thinning things out and getting, you can see these have grown really quite leggy because, they needed to reach the sort of outer edges to get sunlight. So I think the only thing to do is just to, with this lower stuff, is just be brave. If it dies, it dies. I may not even keep these lower branches anyway, looking at them. So, ticking along nicely. You know, I do not have the patience for stuff like this. I'm probably in the wrong hobby, aren't I? But it's just tiresome manual labour style job, which I'm not enjoying in the slightest, but we're getting there. And that is the important thing to think of, I think, with any task. Don't look at the long-term goal, because often it can seem overwhelming. Just tackle things one step at a time. So what is my next step? And tackle that. And what is my next step? And tackle that. And eventually, with a bit of time, that all needs to go, I think. Eventually, with persistence and time, the long-term goal will be achieved. But it's not going to happen overnight. So at the moment, all I need to do, it's really interesting actually, like some of these branches where they'd just been caught below the soil. Let me see if I can get that one on camera. It started to root. So it was almost, because it was all on its side, I mean, I just took out a big one. It was almost like a raft. It was almost naturally, well, obviously not naturally, but inadvertently becoming a raft style tree. Right, where are we at? Let me zoom out slightly. So this is where we're at currently. Some long straggly ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim these back a little bit, try and get some. What I'm actually going to do is try and get rid of a lot of the dominant branches, so that it just naturally tapers into the weaker ones, and that's going to give it much more space to grow and help me thin the tree out, which is what I'm primarily trying to achieve at the moment. I can go back. That does a very awkward twist. I can go it. Oh. And that. And that actually. Okay, so these, the other side now. They've got some real thickness that continues all the way up to the very end. They're very, very strong. Very, very strong. He says, as he snaps it off. Right, that's made that decision easier. Get rid of that. One thing I've not given any consideration to with this tree is if there's going to be any dieback. So I pruned it very aggressively, like right up to the junction points, and that may backfire, who knows. Right, this one here then, this is the big one. There's massive different branches here, and I don't want them all. That one can go, that one looks dead. was. So that. I'm going to go to there. I'm going to cut that right back. This one, much too long, nothing on it. However, no, it's going. Don't overthink it. It's a danger that I face often with stuff like this. I get paralysed by having too many decisions. And what I just need to do is just make one. So that's going to go all the way back as well. It's got no growth on it. In fact, that looks dead. Can it be that the whole of that is dead? Let's have a look. So I've just scored the tree. It looks green. I'll leave that. So that means I'm going to get rid of that one. And that one. That one looks dead though. Yeah, it is. So we're getting somewhere. I'm not quite sure where that somewhere is. What is that? It's been cut off. I've cut that. It's sort of there, isn't it? Either that is the front, or somewhere there is the front. Now these are all too long and spindly. There's nothing on them, so I'm just going to heavily trim them back, and if something grows, hopefully it will do, it'll be fine. These as well, these are all too spindly. That, oh, this one bothers me because it's really long and thin, and then forks here. That's too far away from the tree. So that looks like a bullet point, potentially. Go in. It's going. It is going. That is going. Let's just chop, chop, chop. Don't want that. Don't want that. In fact, don't want any of that. Don't want any of that. Oh, it's just so spindly and leggy, and it just makes the tree look, shrub look, do you know what? Thing is, I want to leave some green. That might be it. That might be it. And obviously it's nowhere near a finished article, but it's not going to be for a good couple of years. Well, many years. That one needs to go. That's growing up. It's dead anyway. That bothers me. I think it's dead. And it goes too close to the other one, so it's going. Dead or not, it's going. Actually, I can see why it's dead. It's very fractured at the base of that branch. So while it's not, yeah, it was. Let's see if I can catch that on camera. Is it going to zoom in? Probably not. I'm too close. So. Right, I'm going to have one last tidy up. I will cut the camera here. Okay, do you know what, guys? I'm calling it. I think that's as much as I'm going to get rid of today. I've opened it up massive, well, considering what it looked like beforehand. Left a bit of green, hopefully that'll be enough to keep it going through into spring. In terms of the front, it's either, at the minute, it's either there or there somewhere. And I think actually, having just looked, the other side's much better. So somewhere there. I'm going to now throw this back to the top of the garden. And leave it alone for a year. And then if it grows like a weed, which I'm hoping it will do, the start of next spring I can pull it back even more. Okay, that is a wrap with a straight camera to finish.